Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching or listening to another episode of Grace in Your Space. I'm so thrilled we could be here today. I have so much to jump into. This week has just been really interesting for a lot of reasons. I've been exploring a lot of this idea of saying yes to things. Have you heard of like the yes theory, or just like say yes to everything because you never know what will lead to one thing? Well, that's fucking exhausting. And I've kind of learned and realized throughout some time now that I cannot say yes to everything. And so this episode, I really like to I want to talk about boundaries and how we are trying to navigate like being available, but not too available. And also how we're navigating living in a world where you feel like you're compelled to say yes to everything because you're expected to like have a response quickly and be around. So I just kind of want to talk about that and how like the yes theory for me, like say yes to everything. You never know what one thing will lead to, how that is actually really exhausting and leads to burnout and leads to you just feeling overwhelmed and like you constantly have things to do, which isn't healthy. Like it's not something you should want to strive for and do. So let me start with like my journey on the yes theory. So this is like this concept of like, just say yes. You never know what's going to happen. Anytime someone asks you to do something, you're like, yes, let's do it. So, do you want to join me with this thing? Yes. And then you meet someone there, and then that person opens the door for that. And then like all these chains of events that you can link to that one moment in time. And that's just like, by saying yes for a whole entire year to things, over a whole year now, like ever since I came to university, I was like, I'm just going to say yes to every opportunity that presents itself. So do you want to work for a magazine? Yes. Do you want to do this internship or that internship? Yes. Do you want to do this research? Do you want to do that? I said yes to everything. And I got to a point where I was like, do I actually want to do these things? Like, do I actually want to be this person doing this research project or doing that? Like, that compulsive, let me just say yes, you never know what's going to happen, only gets you so far before you realize, oh, that's not for me. I don't want to do that. That's a sign of burnout right there and then. So I think something that I've started to implement is like self-regulation. Let me take a business day. Let me take 1 hour, one day, whatever it is. Let me put myself some distance between saying yes in the moment and then thinking ahead of what can I actually put forth with this project, or what can I actually do with my time that's valuable. So just for example, I went to a concert the other night, and my friend, my bestie, she was like, hey, I have this extra ticket. Who wants it? And I looked ahead in my calendar and I like thought on it, and I was like, I do have a lot due, but also that would be really fun. Like a concert is a great way to just like relax, enjoy yourself, be free in the moment. So these things of like, if I just said yes without looking at my calendar, I probably would have been fine. But then there's these other things where you have to balance like, okay, I said yes to this, so what am I going to say no to now? And that's really difficult, right? And speaking of the concert, I have a major grind, like a major axe to grind right now with people and their fucking phones in concerts. I don't know when this became like a thing that we need to record every single moment of a concert, but that drives me insane. Literally, we went to it was a Billie Eilish concert, and I'm like, not a fan of her music, but I don't really know her music that well. So I just went for the vibes, and I was like, you know what, I'm free this Thursday, let's do it, why not? And we had like nosebleed seats, like all the way in the back. There was no way we were ever gonna have like good tickets, and that's fine. Like I knew that. She was like, hey, like these tickets I just got them, they're the nosebleeds. And I'm like, that's perfect. It's a free ticket for me. I'm not complaining at all. And we get there, and the show starts, and everyone whips out their phone. I'm like, all right, so maybe you want to get like the first song, sure. But I had these row of girls in front of us for the entire show, recorded every single moment of the performance and also themselves, like switching from like selfies to recording. And I'm like, what happened to living in the moment? What happened to like just enjoying being present? I just don't get it. Like I took maybe 3 videos. There were some cool songs. I was like, ooh, I really want to show someone else, or I want to capture this because I liked the way the stage was doing things, or the artist was really interesting the way they were performing, and the vocals were good. All these things where I'm like, oh, I want to capture this long term. But I feel like these people are, these concert goers, it's all about like, oh, I gotta post this on social media, or I need to remember this forever. And it's like, what happened to living in the moment? What happened to just being present and being vulnerable with yourself and feeling the emotions of a concert, feeling an artist talking to you, like the rhythmic sound of everything hitting you from the stereos and the speakers, and hearing the music and singing to it. And now it's all just like, whoo, like, where did we go so wrong? And I think this brings me back to what we talked about a couple episodes ago of, we're in this point in our lives where everyone just wants to film everything and put it out there, and it's like we just need to take a step back and live in the moment. Like, when's the last time you went without your phone for a couple hours and had a boundary? I actually just didn't teach a class, but I was invited to guest speak at a lecture about like mindfulness and meditation. And it's so funny because as I'm giving this lecture and I'm like preaching about how mindfulness is so important, set those boundaries of like, okay, after this certain time, don't put your phone do not disturb, all these things. And then I'm like, have I been practicing that lately? Like, do as I say, not as I do. Sometimes is how it is. But as I'm giving this like mindfulness seminar, and I'm with a panel of people, and we're talking about how mindfulness is like a form of resilience and resistance against this. One of my fellow panelists brought up the fact that like humans are evolving quicker with our technology than we can keep up from an evolutionary standpoint. So our brains are incapable of processing some of these technologies and things that have evolved in the past 50 years. The humans haven't even evolved that quickly with that. And so when I think about like our young kids in this concert and everyone's like with their phone out, I'm like, we've lost that sense of humanity in a sense that we need to go back to our roots of just enjoying things in the moment. Like, you think about Woodstock, you hear about people who talked about how revolutionary Woodstock was. This was a point where you literally just experienced it together, right? You didn't have technology in the way of this like channel between musician and audience. Now you have like a three-way channel where it goes musician talks to phone, talks to audience, because you have these kids who were literally putting their phone in front of their face and watching the video they're recording of the live thing on their phone. It makes no sense to me. Literally makes no sense. So that kind of like brings us into my next point that I want to talk about, which is boundary setting. Boundaries are so important, and we are at a point in our life, maybe you're the same way, that boundaries are something we've never been good at. We've never like been able to truly set some good boundaries or talk to people in a way that's like, hey, the way you're doing something to me is not the way I need to be treated. I think we all have that one friend who like you talk to them and you're with them for maybe an hour and you leave completely drained. You're like, they took everything from my bucket and they gave me nothing from their bucket. Right? Or it's that, like you ask them, hey, how are you? And they launch into a 30-minute spiel about everything that's going on there in life. And they're like, so that's my life. And you're like, okay, but like, what about me? Like, can we circle it back to how I'm doing? You probably have a friend like that, or a couple. And it doesn't always mean that there's something wrong with them. But you have to acknowledge at some point that what they're doing to you is not good. And the way they make you feel, not great either. And a boundary isn't a way of like shutting down a friendship, because maybe you genuinely have a good friendship with that person. But a boundary is a way to say, hey, I'm noticing that the way we talk or interact makes me feel really shitty afterwards. And I want to fix that. I want to acknowledge that I think we have a good foundation. We have X, Y, and Z in common. But I have to admit, like, you don't ever ask me how I'm doing. Or if you do, it's surface level and you never follow up questions, right? That's not a bad thing. That doesn't make you a bitch or a cunt or anything. That makes you a good person. Like, that makes you someone who, in your mind, you know your worth. You know your value. And you're saying, I know you should be treating me better. That's not wrong. That's not wrong in this world. That's not a lot to ask either of a friend. And I'll give a great example. I have a friend who is just like that, right? She is in a constant whirlwind. And I am like, you know what? If I can be there for you, I will try to be. But at a certain point, there's only so much mental energy I can give to you, right? I can't keep in this like very toxic cycle of she gives this 30, 40, 50-minute spiel about everything going on in her life. And, you know, we see each other a couple times a week. And I'm like, how has this much changed from the last time I saw you? Sometimes you have people like that who are legit, like, shit happens all the time to them. It's just, that's how they are. And then they either never pass the like metaphorical microphone back to you, right? Or they're like, so what's going on with you? And by that point, you're so fucking drained from listening to them, analyzing what they're saying, giving them good feedback and like suggestions and advice, that you just give a one-off like, yeah, I'm fine. It's all good. No, it ain't. Ain't no way in this day and age it's all good. I'm telling you right now. You're lying to yourself and to them. And that's not, like, if you're really friends with them, you're gonna own up. You're gonna be like, hey, this is the challenge that we're all facing, is a boundary is not something that should be, like, you should feel guilty about. And as women, we have a lot of guilt in many other areas of our life, right? We're expected to be compassionate. We're expected to be, I don't know, warmth all the time. We're supposed to be nice and listen to everyone. And you know what? Fuck that. If someone's not filling your cup like that, you need to tell them, hey, I need a boundary. The way you're talking to me, I don't like. Or, hey, you never ask me how I'm doing, and that really bothers me. So either we need to fix that, or I'm going to start to separate myself from you. That's not bad. That's not you being like, oh, I'm a bad person. That's just you saying, I need more. You're not fulfilling me in the way that I need, and I'm calling you out on it, right? And you're doing something about it. And then it's no longer on you. It's on that person. You give them another shot, and if they're like, they don't improve, okay, I'm not as available to you anymore. You've proven to me that you cannot take good criticism, constructive criticism, and you can't grow as a person. And that's just it, right? A boundary is growing as a person for you too. You're acknowledging, oh, this relationship in my life is no longer working in the way that it used to. And I want to change it. I want to improve. I want things to get better. Or I'm changing and I need this person, the way we communicate, how often we communicate, whatever it is, that needs to change a little bit too. And that's totally good. So in my example, I told my friend, I said, hey, when you talk about, for example, money, I can't relate to that. Okay? I'm a broke ass college student. I don't have money like that. Can we not talk about that anymore? Or when you talk about money, it makes me feel like I'm poor or that I'm not as worthy as you. You say that phrase, you see how they respond. Your friend goes, oh, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Next time I talk about money, it won't be A, in that capacity, or I won't talk about it at all. And then you hold them to that, right? You say to them, a couple weeks go by, thank you. Just want to acknowledge, like, thank you for listening to me a couple weeks ago and not talking about money. That was really nice. Like, I like that we've shifted our friendship in a new direction and we no longer talk about things that are triggering for me or bothering me or things that I cannot relate to that you constantly talk about. Boundaries. Literally, bare minimum is how I feel about that. Hey, you're listening to a whole new episode of Grace in Your Space. Guess what? This would not be possible without me, Grace, but also I need your help, right? I'm a one-woman production, one-woman show. Everything you see and do, I am doing. That means anytime you see a YouTube video, Instagram Reel, anything on my socials, including editing and producing every episode, I'm doing myself. That's why I need someone like you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. I've been talking to you all episode, and now I'm really talking to you. I need your help, okay? I need you to like this video. I need you to comment something. I need you to interact with my Instagram account. I really need it, okay? We're here. I'm trying to make this dream a reality, and I need your help. It's not possible without you. And I'm asking because I feel really passionately that we could go somewhere with this. Grace in Your Space isn't just some passion project. I mean, it is. But I think we could make it so much more bigger. We could have a community of people who are interested in these topics, who want to hear more, and I think you can help with the growth of that, right? What do you say? So, please, please, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, all of that good shit. You know the drill. I don't have to tell you. You've heard it before. And thank you. Thank you for taking time today to listen. Stream, whatever you're doing, even if this is on in the background. I don't care. You're here showing up for yourself, listening to a podcast that, I'll be honest, is sometimes crazy. And I appreciate that. I truly do. All right, thank you. Here's to the next segment. And again, like, I see so many women in my life, young women who are afraid to set a boundary. And I'm like, why? Why? And maybe I am just not so blunt, but I'm in an authentic version of myself right now, where if it is not serving me, I am leaving it behind, right? I am in this moment where this is a season of life where I do not have time for people's bullshit, don't have time for my own bullshit. Like, I'm keeping it so fucking real. And if people are going to be like, oh my God, I don't hear from her very often, there's a reason. There's a reason why you're not hearing from me as often. I've acknowledged in my own life that you're not serving me, and goodbye. You're out. Like, that's just how it has to be sometimes. And does not make you a bad person for cutting someone off. And that's really important too, right? We don't talk about that enough. You realize, oh, this person, I've tried talking to them. It's not working anymore. Like, what am I supposed to do? You cut them off. Now you don't ghost them. That's something we need to be clear about. You don't ghost them. You're not like, okay, I don't ever want to hear from this person again. Because you might run into them. If your circle is small, you're going to run into them anymore. But you make a conscious effort to slowly remove yourself from that relationship. You set that boundary of, oh, they're no longer filling my cup. I'm drained every time I talk to them. Or, we no longer have things of interest to each other. That's okay too. You can grow apart from people, and a boundary is purely saying, I'm realizing this person no longer serves me. I'm removing them from my inner circle. That's totally good too. Exceptional. Like, it's honestly amazing. But again, we're not ghosting. If we're ghosting, we're doing things wrong. That's not the growth we're looking for at this point of life, right? We're looking for something that's going to fulfill us, and also we're looking for personal growth, right? So personal growth looks like acknowledging to yourself and to others what you need, and how are you going to do that? Did you like that one? I just came up with that right on the spot. I love that. I love that we're talking about boundaries. It's so important though, right? I've never heard a lot of people talking about it in the way that they need to be told. Maybe you have someone that comes up to you and they're like, this one person, like, I cannot stand this friend. Like, you need to be that person that's like, you need to cut them off. Like, I hear that all the time from people I know that are like, I have this ex, or I have this friend that they always, like, this is what they do, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cut them out. Cut them out. What are they doing to serve you? If it does not serve you, goodbye. I legitimately feel that way. And you'll hear me preach that to the day I die. Like, if it's not serving you right now, what is it doing? put it on the back burner or put it goodbye. Like, it's when you have these people who you're constantly giving your energy to, no wonder you feel drained. No wonder you're constantly like, oh my God, I don't even have enough energy for myself. And then you're trying to give energy to others. Honey, we got to go way back. You got to go back to basics. You got to be like, how can I, and again, this goes to our latest episode, like our last episode or two, that you need to be thinking about take care of yourself before you take care of others. And taking care of yourself looks like putting boundaries up. Taking care of yourself looks like, this person isn't serving me, so goodbye. That's all it is. That's all it is. If we're trying to manifest and become this greater version of ourselves through self-work and like improving our mental health and emotional health and all of these things, it starts from you. You can't be there for your friends. You can't be there for your partner, spouse, whatever, if you're not there for yourself first. I'm going to say that again because you need to hear it. You need to hear it, right? If you are not taking care of yourself, how are you going to be there for others in the same way that they need emotionally? If you're not tending to yourself emotionally, if you're not doing things to regulate your own emotions or making yourself happy, how the hell are you going to help your bestie who's going through it with her boyfriend? How the hell are you going to do it with your bestie who's trying to figure out a new life for themselves? You ain't going to be able to do it. I'm telling you right now, the way I've seen it fall out with myself is when I've been in places where I've been burnt out, stressed out, and not there for myself, I cannot be there wholeheartedly for the people who need me. So what does that look like? Boundaries. 100% boundaries. Putting up those ways of, and boundaries are good for you too, right? A boundary could look as simple as, hey, thank you for telling me this. I can't talk right now, or I cannot be the person you come to for this anymore. I'm going through my own thing right now, and as much as I'd love to be able to help you, I need to focus on me first. That's amazing. If that's all you can do, if that's all you take away from today's little like TED Talk, is that you need to show up for yourself, that's huge. That's huge, right? Like that would be all I would ever want for you, is how are you showing up for yourself before you show up for someone else? And that is through a boundary. 100% that is through things like boundaries. And again, it's not something that you are going to figure out magically. It's not something that you're just going to wake up tomorrow and be like, I got it figured out. It's a practice. It's a practice. It's something that takes time. It takes repetitive doing over and over and over again. And it's never going to be perfect either. It's never going to be something where we're like, I woke up tomorrow and I'm like, I got boundaries figured out. No. Fuck no. I'm constantly messing up boundaries. Or I say to one person, right? I say to one person, that's a boundary. But to the next, I lose sight of boundaries, right? It's all about balance and practice. It's not going to come to you overnight, and that's okay. It shouldn't. It should be something you're continuously working towards, putting those skills to the test where you believe in yourself. And you say to yourself, hey, I see you struggling this week. You really should not go have dinner with your friends and listen to them complain about themselves. Because guess what? You're going to be miserable in that dinner, and you're going to be miserable listening to them. Instead, you say, self, I'm going to respectfully decline dinner, and I'm going to do a self-care night where I journal and meditate and knit and do whatever the hell makes me happy. That's self-care and boundaries. That's growth. That's practice. That's putting it into practice. You text that group chat and you're like, ladies, I love you, but I need to cancel. I know we already had made last minute plans. I've come to terms with, I'm not feeling great this week. I need to put in the time for myself. I'd love to get together next week and tell you all about what I did tonight, including my self-care. Hell yeah, that's a boundary, bitch. That's a boundary, bitch. We love it. We love to see it. But again, it has to start from yourself. It has to start within. You have to be in a place where you're ready to accept that not everyone's gonna be happy with a boundary. You're gonna receive a little pushback, right? You're gonna have that friend be immediately text back, bitch, what do you mean you ain't coming to dinner? We scheduled this last week. Boundary. You're gonna hear it again. You're gonna hear it all this episode. Boundary, boundary, boundary. You text back and you say, I know, I'm sorry, but I need to put me first. I need to say, you need to say, I need to do some work myself. I need to have a night to myself. I'm drained emotionally. But also, maybe you don't owe them an explanation. Actually, that'd be even better. That's a better boundary. But if you can't do that, because that's difficult and that's hard, right? That's hard to say to someone, I don't need to explain myself to you. I'll see you next week. Without sounding, again, unwarm, like a bitch, right? You don't want to be called that, even to your closest of friends. But a boundary, a beginner way to do it, would be texting them back saying, I know, I'm really sorry to let you down. I've had a rough week and I'd love to tell you about it at dinner next time. I'm going to take the night to myself. Have a great time at dinner. I can't wait to hear about it next week. That's all it is. Sometimes you can give them an explanation. You don't always owe it to them, though. Because guess what? That's all what you need to do. That's all what you need to do. Is send that text saying, acknowledging to them, hey, I'm sorry I'm doing this. Here's why. Not that you owe them anything. And I can't wait to see you next time. Then you have to follow through, right? Then you have to actually go to the dinner the next week and like do your self-care and all of that, which we'll get into another time. The best self-care we have. So let me know if you want self-care tips and things like that, because that's also important. But we've got to learn that balance, and putting it into practice is so important. It's so important to be able to say, I am acknowledging in myself that I'm tired. And I don't have that energy to sit through a dinner with you and listen to you complain about X, Y, or Z. And that's okay. That's so okay. That's so okay. And then, you know what? The next time you see that person, you'd be like, hey, sorry I missed dinner. Just want you to know, like, this is where I'm coming from. I was really stressed out at work. I'm feeling tired. I haven't taken the self-care day. And also, you've been talking about the same problem for 2 months now. And I just could not take another night of hearing you talk about it. And then that opens a door for that person too, to realize, oh my gosh, maybe I have been like talking about that a little bit too much, right? Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this ex anymore. Or this person's not the right, like, I should not be talking about this ex to my friend. Who's this person? You see it all like working together? Do you see the wheels of change happening? If you just reframe your mind a little bit and realize that a boundary is not going to make you a bad person. It's not going to make you hated. Okay, maybe a little bit. But if they're really your friend, they're going to get it. They're going to be like, damn, I see what she's doing and I respect it and I like it. And I want her to be the best version of herself. So if that means she needs to take a night off from our weekly dinner, so be it. So be it. I'm going to see her next week and I will catch her up on all of the tea then. Or I'll call her after dinner and be like, hey, here's what you missed. How are you doing? That's a good friend. That's a good boundary. That's how it should be, right? And if you're not receiving that, this is your sign that you need to reevaluate your relationships. You need to reevaluate the people in your lives and the interpersonal relationships you're having, the conversations you're doing, and start to think, what's actually giving me life right now? What's actually supporting me? Who's actually doing things for me that are uplifting me and also supporting me? And if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, this entire episode, I was thinking about so-and-so, this is your sign. Start to make a plan of, okay, how am I going to set this boundary? How am I going to enact and practice what I've just heard preached to me for X amount of minutes now? That's really key. You've heard me talk about this, but now how are you going to put it into practice? How are you going to take what we've just discussed in depth? And I didn't even realize we were going to be talking this long about it, but I just feel so passionate that we should be thinking, okay, I heard Grace talk about this. Grace is by no means any expert, but what she said just resonated with me to a level that I did not even know was possible. And now I want to enact, I want to practice what Grace just told me. Grace, my bestie, she just told me, enact a boundary with someone. And I was thinking about someone this entire time she was talking, and that sounds exactly like the person I know. Well, now what you're going to do is when this little video ends, you're going to go ahead and text that person, or you're going to call that person and say, I just listened to this amazing podcast episode and it made me think of you, and I think I'd like to open a conversation up. Not that fucking hard. Not that hard. Practice what you've just learned. It's not hard. But again, people they feel that they're gonna be ostracized, or they're gonna be made out to be this bad bitch, and I'm like, okay, let them. If you truly, if someone reacts that way to you, were they your friend? Were they someone who you want in your life and like that? Boundaries make you reevaluate your relationships too. They make you see things that you might have been pushing off. But now, as you reevaluate, as you listen to me, as you think about all of this, you see, maybe this isn't healthy. But we have such a good friendship in some moments. Well, okay then. I'm not saying you need to cut this person off or leave them on the wayside. It just means you need to redefine how you communicate, when you communicate, all of these different things. That's not wrong. That's healthy and normal, and it should be done more often. But we get into this pattern where folks feel like they don't have the power to change things in their relationships. And you do. It's not a one-way street, hon. It is two ways to talk to people. Or more. Maybe it's a friend group, right? It doesn't matter the dynamic. It matters what you're doing. How are you showing up for others, and how are you showing up for yourself? And sometimes all it takes is a boundary to redefine how you are going to participate in that. Yeah? You feel me? You feel me, right? Right? You feel me. I hope you do. I hope you do, because I just literally preached about that for almost 20 minutes. So I certainly hope that message hits. And it should. And it really should. And you should think to yourself, if this is resonating, the person you're thinking about in that moment, give them a text, give them a call. Next time you see them, be like, hey, actually, you know what would be even better? Send them this podcast episode and be like, this made me think of you. Okay, that's kind of shady, actually. Don't do that. But maybe that's a way for you to start the conversation. Maybe it is. Okay. One last thing before we go. I want to give you an update on some of the things that are going on in my side projects. So last time we were all together, I had a blanket that I was making. I also feel like I need to uplift the conversation a little bit. That was not heavy, but it was a lot. And I feel that we could just use a moment to look at some pretty colors and the things I'm making. Because that's another form of resistance and boundary setting, is taking time for yourself, right? We talked about that a lot last week, but taking time for what we're doing, how we're fulfilling ourselves so that we can be there for others. And this is how I do it. I knit and I crochet. And I've been knitting and crocheting since I was 10 years old, so over a decade now. And I've been knitting ever since the pandemic. I taught myself, self-taught. And so these art forms for me are something I use to relax, unwind, start to really think about how I want to leave a legacy of handmade things, or wear things that are handmade for myself long term. So last time I talked about the baby blanket, and here it is. It is completely done. I am so excited. And I could not have finished it in the nick of time, because I literally, this baby shower is in a couple days, and I finished it like 3 days before the baby shower. So this is it, and hopefully I'll get a photo with the bebe at some point. That was a Schitt's Creek reference. If you know, you know. And I'm super stoked about this one. If you know, these were the socks I was starting to make. And you can't even tell what this is right now. But this is the beginning of a sock, and it is so pretty. So, oh, I just dropped my yarn. That's so sad. I don't really want to pick it up, though. I've got a million cords going here because of the podcasting equipment, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm holding 2 strands here. I have my yarn from my Jim Thorpe adventure. If you haven't checked out that episode, go back a week or 2. It was a good one. And I also have another just mustard yellow. So I'm holding these 2 together. So these are going to be a bit of a thick sock. However, it's going to be really nice and warm. It's very stretchy. It's fuzzy too. I don't know if you could see that, but it's very fuzzy. And I'm learning to like this because that's just how mohair is. That's how this like thin yarn is. And I think it's going to just look really pretty when it's all knit up. But again, you can't really tell much of what this is, but it's on the cuff of your sock, and then knitting down, and I'll do the heel and then around. So we're getting there, but I cast this on just 2 days ago. So I haven't had a ton of time quite yet, but I'm excited about that. And then I'm thinking about making a sweater this winter too, but I'm not quite sure about what sweater and what yarn yet. So yeah, those were my little 2 projects too. I want to thank you so much for listening and enduring all of that. I shouldn't say enduring. It was a blast. I had a blast. I think you could see my passion and sort of the amount of emotion I have for like preaching things that are important and messages that I know, right? You know to put boundaries in place. But it's hard. It's really hard. So practice it. It's not something you're ever going to perfect or do miraculously all at once. It's a practice for sure. So I, again, just wanted to thank you for listening and hearing what I had to say. And I want to know next time, maybe send me a DM or a comment what boundary practices you're enacting, because I'm curious to know how you're taking what I've said and actually putting it into practice. And if you like this kind of more of this content that's developed in sort of a like therapist kind of way, but I'm still your bestie, whatever it may be, let me know that too. We're still workshopping all the content here. Or if you want to see more knitting stuff, I had someone say that they wanted to see a sourdough video. I would be down for that, but only if that's something you guys want, right? So let me know, and stay safe out there. Practice those boundaries. And until next time, it's Grace in Your Space. See ya.